They say becoming a father is one of the greatest moments in a man's life. For as long as I can remember, people fed me that line. Friends, relatives, strangers at the grocery store who noticed Ellie's swelling belly and my nervous grin. Those 9 months became a living collage of advice. Get your sleep now while you can. Buy a wipe warmer. You'll understand real love the first time he looks at you. The cliché settled over everything like dust. I took evening classes on infant CPR. I learned how many diapers a newborn should soil daily. I painted the nursery pale green, painstakingly masking the trim so the edges would be perfect. There were weeks when excitement clenched my chest so hard I woke at 3 a.m., certain the mattress was missing beneath me, the house listing sideways in the dark. Then came the day. Ellie's labor began at dawn, a ripple across her stomach while she balanced a bowl of cereal, an almost doubtful smile as she said, "I think that was a contraction." By noon, she was gripping my forearm hard enough to leave half-moon welts. I drove too fast, missed the hospital entrance, doubled back with the hazard lights flashing while Ellie hissed that I was scaring her more than the baby. But once we were inside the maternity ward, time turned slow and viscous, thick as syrup. Bright lights, nurses in cheerful scrubs, aluminum cart racks clattering through sliding doors. I coached Ellie's breathing, counted for her, lost count, counted again. Hours later, a doctor told us it was time. My world narrowed to a single rectangle of fluorescent light above the delivery bed. And then, the breath of the universe drawing in, he was there. A wet, wrinkled bundle hoisted into existence with a cry like torn silk. The sound yanked tears out of me so sudden my throat clicked shut. He was perfect, 10 fingers, 10 toes, a shock of dark hair plastered to his crown. A nurse wrapped him in cotton flannel the color of early clouds and placed him in Ellie's arms first, but she squeezed my wrist and said, "He needs his dad." When she handed him over, his weight surprised me, warm, dense, real. I held my son against my chest and forgot how to breathe. Then he opened his eyes. Newborns don't usually focus so quickly. I read that a dozen times. Their gaze skitters, uncoordinated, pupils swimming in milky gray. But Noah, yes, we'd already chosen the name, blinked 3 deliberate blinks and fixed on my face with a steadiness that made my scalp prickle. His eyes were dark, almost black under the harsh lights, and for one long second I had the irrational impression that I wasn't looking into a baby's eyes at all. I was looking into 2 open windows, and behind those windows something ancient and unfamiliar leaned forward, studying me. Someone said my name, the doctor maybe. The spell broke. Noah's eyelids drooped, lashes trembled, and he broke into a soft whimper no different from any other infant's cry. I managed to laugh, too loud, jagged at the edges, and kissed Ellie's forehead. She was radiant, flushed with exhaustion and triumph. She didn't notice how stiff my arms had gone. That was the first time. The first night in the postpartum suite felt like a dream you can't wake from. Ellie dozed, spent, while nurses drifted in and out. I sat in a plastic-covered recliner beneath a dim wall sconce, Noah swaddled against my ribcage, the faint odor of amniotic fluid mingling with antiseptic. Every 30 minutes I checked his face, memorizing the slope of his nose, the miniature bow of his lips. Fear and love brewed together in a way I'd never experienced. Around 2 a.m., a distant siren wailed somewhere outside the hospital, fading as it passed. Noah's eyelids fluttered open. He didn't blink this time. His stare locked over my right shoulder into an empty corner of the room. He stopped breathing for exactly 2 seconds, long enough for me to feel panic collect like gravel in my lungs, then resumed at a measured pace far too deliberate for a newborn. I whispered, "Hey, little man," and turned to follow his line of sight. Nothing, just shadow behind the IV stand. When I faced forward again, his gaze swung and pinned my own. The weight of it pressed me against the recliner. Something moved behind those eyes, a flicker like the turning of very old pages. A nurse entered, soft shoes squeaking. Noah's eyes slid away, unfocused, baby vague. He began rooting for a bottle as if nothing had happened. By sunrise, I'd convinced myself exhaustion had twisted ordinary moments into something eerie. New dads hallucinate from adrenaline and lack of sleep. There were articles about that. But reassurance grew thinner each time his eyes opened. Those first weeks at home felt choreographed. So many people dropping by with casseroles and helium balloons, the front door revolving on squeaky hinges. Under that constant audience, Noah behaved exactly as a normal infant should. He fussed for milk, belched, napped in drooling bliss. Ellie's mother crowed over his grip strength. My father joked Noah would pitch for the Cubs one day. They posed for photos, flashbulbs popping, Noah's gaze floating just past the lens like any baby's. But when the visitors left and Ellie dozed in our bedroom and the house settled into late afternoon hush, he changed. The first clear incident happened on day 13. Ellie needed a nap after nursing. I volunteered for bottle duty and carried Noah to the living room. Sunlight pooled across the rug, turning dust motes to gold. I eased onto the couch and balanced him in the crook of my knee, humming tunelessly. Halfway through the bottle, he stopped sucking. His eyes rolled upward until whites showed, then snapped back and nailed me with perfect, unwavering focus. A muscle twitched in his cheek, almost a smirk. Then his lips parted, and a sound slid out that wasn't quite a baby's coo or cry. It was speech, not English, not any language I recognized. 5 syllables, sibilant and breathy, as though shaped by someone unused to having vocal cords. The room felt smaller, the corners bending inward. I jerked the bottle away, formula dribbled down his chin. He didn't blink, didn't breathe, didn't need to. Seconds later, his eyelids closed all at once, and he slumped against my arm, limp with newborn sleep. I sat there until the bottle cooled to room temperature. That evening, I rewound the baby monitor footage in secret, searching for proof. The camera had caught nothing, of course. Noah's face was turned away, bottle hiding his mouth. The audio track carried only my own dumb humming and the faint creak of the couch. Still, I saved the clip, insurance for my sanity. I started a journal on day 20. No titles, no dates, just bullet points scrawled between feedings, scribbled in the garage, typed into my phone under blankets at night. Staring episodes longer, counted 47 seconds. Whispered again, sounds like Saha Ren. Doesn't cry when alone with me, only when E enters. 2:07 a.m. Eyes open simultaneously with thunder. Coincidence? Dream. Noah standing in crib, whispering mine, mine, mine. The more data I gathered, the less sleep I got. Ellie noticed the bags beneath my eyes and suggested I nap when Noah napped. Advice every parenting blog repeats. But his naps turned into vigils. I'd hover by the crib, certain the instant I left he would do something impossible. Roll over, stand, speak. Twice I caught him lying stiff as a board with eyes open, unblinking, pupils sharp as pencil tips. The moment he sensed me, eyelids fluttered, limbs went slack, and he resumed the loose, jerky movements normal for infants. He knew when I watched, and he performed when others were around. During Noah's 1-month checkup, the pediatrician raved. "Never seen head control like this," she exclaimed, while Noah gurgled sweetly, a show pony grin plastered across his soft face. I forced a laugh. Ellie squeezed my knee, proud. On the way out, I asked the doctor whether newborns could make odd vocalizations. She chuckled, said some babies discover their voices early. "You'll be thrilled when he says dada first," she teased. I stared at Noah in the car seat. He stared back, serene. He only talked when no one could hear. The mobile incident shredded any leftover denial. It was past midnight. Ellie slept on her side, face buried in pillows. Rain snickered against the windows. I sat in the dark living room clutching cold chamomile tea, baby monitor balanced on my knee. Its infrared lens cast the nursery in pale shades, crib, dresser, rocking chair, motionless sleeping infant. My body finally sagged, eyelids drooping. A faint click snapped me awake, a plastic rattle inside the monitor's speaker. On screen, the mobile above Noah's crib rotated. One slow revolution, another. Shadows of felt planets swayed across the wall. The wind couldn't reach that mobile. I'd shut every window. Noah lay silent beneath it, eyes open, staring straight into the lens as if he sensed the camera. His mouth opened. For 3 dreadful seconds, the speaker delivered static that shaped itself into a hiss. Not quite words, but intent. I leaned forward, heart in my throat. The mobile slowed, stopped. Noah's eyes closed. The nursery light blinked off, an electrical flicker that killed the camera feed. A fuse hadn't blown. The hall night light still burned. The only bulb to die was Noah's. When picture returned, the mobile hung inert, Noah's eyelids fluttering like any other sleeping child. But I knew that gaze was trained on me through the darkness, obliterating every inch of distance a screen tried to provide. I unplugged the monitor the next morning. But distance is a lie. Day 35, Ellie's first afternoon out of the house alone. She deserved it. Coffee with her sister, a short swing through Target for nursing pads. Noah was freshly burped, drowsy. The timing seemed perfect. She left at 1:12 p.m. I watched her car tail lights vanish, then locked the front door. Silence billowed. I carried Noah to the nursery, arms trembling, and laid him gently in the crib. He kicked once, yawned. I backed away until my spine pressed the doorframe. My lungs pulled air in shallow sips. The house creaked, settling. Noah's eyes slid open. He didn't flinch at the brightness, didn't seem to breathe. He lay motionless, face angled so he could study me without straining. Very slowly, he flexed his fingers around a plush giraffe. Not playful, deliberate. Testing grip. He lifted the toy an inch, let it drop. Lifted, dropped. Each motion perfectly identical, as though calibrating a machine. My skin crawled, then his lips parted. Sound poured out. Too many vowels, not enough consonants. Syllables stacked like counterfeit coins. The words carried rhythm, almost chant-like. Gooseflesh stippled my arms. I swallowed, but nothing went down. I whispered, "Noah?" Abruptly, the babble ceased. He rolled to his side, another motor milestone no baby should reach so soon, and watched me. Something about those eyes made me dizzy, as if depth perception flipped. I was falling into them. He smiled. Baby teeth hadn't come in yet, but it felt like being shown fangs. My phone vibrated, shocking me backward. Ellie asking if we needed anything from the store. When I looked up, Noah was face down, knees tucked under, butt in the air, exactly like a baby should nap. Asleep. I texted all good with hands that couldn't stop shaking. After that afternoon, I closed the nursery door whenever Ellie left the house. Sometimes I pushed a chair under the knob. I invented errands to keep myself out, fixing a leaky faucet, cleaning gutters, anything to limit the minutes Noah and I spent alone. Deep down, I understood how absurd that looked. A grown man barricading himself from his own child. But terror doesn't care how stupid you appear. Around week 8, Noah started to crawl. Ellie filmed the milestone on her phone, squealing encouragement while he wobbled across a blanket. I clapped on cue, but inside, cold dread pooled. He'd been practicing for days, in secret, during those silent sessions when he knew only I was near. Twice I'd seen him pull to a stand by hooking tiny fingernails into the mesh of his playpen. He'd looked at me over the rim with an expression closer to appraisal than triumph. The day after Ellie's video went viral among our friends, I installed a latch high on the supply closet. I locked my toolbox inside, every pair of scissors, every sharp edge. I couldn't articulate the thought, but it hovered like fog. He's getting mobile. Mobility means opportunity. That night, I dreamed I woke to crying, stumbled into the hall half asleep, and found Noah upright at the top of the stairs, balanced on 2 feet, arms extended toward me. The instant our eyes met, he laughed, not baby giggles, but a brittle adult chuckle, and hurled himself downward. I lunged, woke tangled in sheets before impact, heart stuttering against ribs. When I checked the nursery, Noah slept soundly, but his pillow was turned a full 90 degrees from where Ellie had placed it. People talk about the 4th trimester, that fragile stretch when new parents sink inward and the world grows small. Ours shrank until only 2 people fit, Noah and me, orbiting each other like opposing magnets. Ellie remained oblivious, lost in maternal bliss. If Noah fussed, he wanted her. If she held him, he cooed. Around me, he transformed, silent, watchful, edges sharpening each day. I dreaded her business trips, her dental appointments, anything that left me sole guardian. Worst was the night shift. Noah never screamed for food at 2 a.m. like most infants. Instead, I woke because something hovered at the edge of perception, a change in pressure, the hush before lightning strikes. I'd pad down the hall and find him wide awake, staring through crib slats. He never acknowledged my presence immediately. He would turn his head inch by inch, as though demonstrating he'd been aware long before I entered. "Hungry?" I'd whisper, though he didn't root or smack his lips. I'd lift him, body rigid, limbs held close to the torso like a puppet awaiting orders. Feeding was mechanical. He swallowed perfectly, never leaking formula. His eyes stayed fixed on mine throughout, and I swallowed against a sense of being measured. One dawn I dared ask, "What are you?" My voice cracked. Noah's jaw chewed reflexively. But for a heartbeat, I thought I saw comprehension flicker. A tiny pulse of amusement, and something else, pity. He finished the bottle and turned his head away, signaling dismissal. I cried in the shower that morning, water scalding the back of my neck, wondering what love was supposed to look like when fear infected every heartbeat. Day 64 delivered the hardest proof. A thunderstorm bullied the county all afternoon. Power flickered twice. I triple-checked the backup batteries in the monitors. Ellie kept Noah on her lap, reading a picture book, though his attention drifted to the sliding glass door where rain blurred the yard into moving watercolor. Near dinner time, she announced she was craving Chinese takeout and asked if I felt comfortable staying with Noah while she drove to pick it up. I almost said no. I almost screamed, "Don't go." But cowardice dressed itself as politeness, and I said sure. Lomaine sounded perfect. When her car pulled away, I locked the front door. A restless hum filled the house, lights buzzing like hornets. The baby monitor on the coffee table showed Noah dozing in his swing, straps snug, head tilted. I told myself the swing would keep him contained even if something changed. I ducked into the half bath to splash water on my face, staring at my reflection, pale, eyes bloodshot, stubble thick. Thunder rattled the mirror. When I stepped back into the hall, the house felt off balance, as if furniture had shifted half an inch. The monitor was dark. I sprinted to the living room, skidded on the rug. The screen showed static. The swing sat empty. Lightning strobed through the picture window. As if timed, the overhead bulb died, plunging the room into gloom striped by electric flashes. In that stuttering light, I saw footprints, tiny damp ovals marching across the hardwood toward the kitchen. My mouth tasted copper. "Noah?" I croaked. Silence. I followed the trail into the kitchen, every cabinet shadowed. Another flash of lightning illuminated the doorway to the basement. The door stood open, yawning black. The footprints continued down those steps. I downloaded courage from some primitive corner and descended, each tread groaning. The basement smelled of wet earth and detergent. Another lightning flash revealed Noah at the far wall, seated upright on a paint can. He had crawled or climbed 20 feet in total darkness. His pajamas were spotless. He raised one hand, palm outward. "Stop." My knees translated the command before my brain. I halted. He blinked once, and in that blink thunder rolled overhead, shaking dust from joists. When he opened his eyes, pupils dilated so wide, the irises vanished. He opened his mouth. Words came, crisp and unmistakable. "Are you ready yet?" Lightning died. The bulb at the top of the stairwell shuddered back to life. Normal warm light, and Ellie's footsteps echoed above, front door slamming in the wind. I blinked, and Noah was crying like any hungry infant, arms flailing. He had toppled from the paint can onto his back. I scooped him up, murmuring nonsense. My spine dripped sweat. Ellie called down, worried. I yelled back that everything was okay. I dropped a jar. I was sorry. She would make a joke about clumsiness later. I would laugh, clutch Noah a little too tightly, pretend the flutter in my stomach was love. That night after she slept, I erased the basement footage from the security camera. Some lines are too dangerous to cross twice, but the words tattooed themselves behind my eyes. "Are you ready yet?" Ready for what? I stopped asking. The storm marked a shift. Noah's masquerade deteriorated. He no longer bothered crying for Ellie during the day. Instead, he monitored her with an expression nearly clinical. She chalked the change to burgeoning personality. Meanwhile, his visits to me became relentless. I'd catch him staring from the playpen during conference calls, lips moving soundlessly. Once I stepped into the shower, pulled the curtain closed, and found him lying on the bath mat when I stepped out. He had crawled silently across 2 rooms through a door I know I shut. Ellie swore she had left him napping. Sleep deprivation made reality gelatinous. I saw Noah's eyes in the microwave reflection, in dark windows at dusk. I smelled formula where none had spilled. Sometimes the baby monitor battery died, and still I heard his voice in the speaker, a muffled pulse repeating the same 5 syllables. When words crept into my dreams, they changed. "Are you ready yet?" became "You are ready now." Day 90, the pediatrician again. Shots, growth charts, developmental tests. "He's off the charts," the doctor marveled, sliding her finger along percentile curves. "Look at this neck strength. You'll have an early walker." Noah offered her a cherub grin, gums shining wet. My mouth tasted sour. On the drive home, Ellie teased that I'd better start baby-proofing everything. I installed gates at the top and bottom of the stairs, wedged foam plugs into every outlet, even the ones behind furniture. But deep down, I understood those measures were for babies. Noah was not constrained by the rules of babyhood. Gates slowed me, outlets could hurt me. He would watch and wait until cords frayed enough for sparks. That evening, Ellie discovered my journal. I'd left it open on the garage workbench, pages smeared with grease and sweat. She read half before I stumbled in carrying groceries. Her eyes brimmed with tears. "You're scared of him?" she whispered. I tried denial, laughter, but the words came out cracked. She saw through it. I expected anger, but her expression twisted into grief. "You're sick," she said softly, as if that diagnosis hurt worse than rage. Postpartum depression. Pediatrician brochures warned fathers could experience it too. She suggested counseling, medication. I agreed to everything, promised I'd contact a therapist, promised to sleep. That night I flushed 3 pages of the journal down the toilet, stripe by stripe, watching ink swirl like bruises. I didn't book the appointment. I started carrying the journal in my jacket pocket instead. When I slept, I wedged a chair under our bedroom knob. Ellie never mentioned that part. The power outage arrived without warning, 3 weeks after the storm. "Grid failure across 3 counties," said the radio, cause unknown. Ellie lit scented candles. Noah's shadow flickered huge on the wall as she rocked him. I watched wax gutters form around wicks and felt something clench behind my ribs, as if candlelight declared open season. Sure enough, at 11:03 p.m., while Ellie brushed her teeth, a thump sounded in the hallway. I stepped out and saw Noah crawling fast, elbows driving like pistons, head lifted higher than balance allowed. His silhouette stretched ahead, a grotesque reflection of infant anatomy. He reached the wall, pulled a stand, and pressed his palm flat against drywall. He held it there, fingers splayed, as if reading vibrations. I hissed his name. He turned and grinned. A row of gums, but the expression belonged to an adult reveling in private victory. Ellie approached behind me, humming. Noah collapsed to all fours, babbled, reached for her. She scooped him up, oblivious to the wet handprint left on the plaster. I stared at that mark until candle smoke smudged the air. In the morning it was gone. By 4 months, Noah could stand unassisted for seconds at a time, documented on Ellie's phone, celebrated across social feeds. Internally, I counted down. If he walked, what next? If he talked where others could hear, what then? I pictured headlines, "Prodigy child speaks at 4 months," and knew that attention would feed the thing wearing his skin. I needed a plan, an exit. But you cannot flee your own child without sentencing yourself to monstrous guilt, and this creature understood that leverage. Every time I considered disappearing, Noah cried for Ellie until she called me, voice trembling, saying he must miss me. He tethered me with her love. The storm that ended everything hit on day 130. August humidity curdled above the rooftops, thunderheads vaulting skyward. At dusk, Ellie's phone buzzed with a tornado watch. She joked we'd baptize Noah in Midwestern chaos. He perched on her hip, serene. His gaze flicked to me, and for the first time I saw contempt, pure disdain at how long I'd taken to recognize inevitability. Sirens wailed at 9 p.m. The emergency radio ordered residents to interior rooms. Ellie rushed to the hallway closet. I snatched blankets and the diaper bag. We crouched on the floor, door propped open a crack for fresh air. The darkness in that closet became absolute once lightning fried the transformer down the street. Only a battery lantern painted faces white. Noah fussed, genuine infant distress at last, but not toward Ellie. He reached for me, fingers flexing like hooks. Startled, she passed him over. The moment his weight settled against my chest, he quieted. Ellie smiled, tears catching lantern glare, grateful to see father-son bonding. I tried to return the expression, but Noah's tiny hand had fisted in my shirt, nails biting skin. He stared unblinking. Wind screamed outside, constant and huge. The house shuddered, wood snapped in the attic. Ellie buried her head against my shoulder and started praying aloud. In that chorus of creaks and prayers, Noah spoke again, this time intelligible. "Ready now," he whispered. Ellie's praying faltered. "Did you say something?" I shook my head. Noah tightened his grip, nosed under my jaw the way infants seek warmth, but his mouth pressed my throat, breath icy. I tried to reposition him. He yanked a tuft of my hair, hard, gaze drilling upward. His second hand rose, palms spreading across my sternum. "Ready?" The lantern flickered out. Total dark. Ellie screamed my name. Another voice, deeper, impossible from that tiny chest, answered. "Here." Cold flooded me, a sensation like water filling cavities inside bones. My limbs tingled, numb. The world tilted. Ellie's scream cut loose again, shrinking, as though descending into a well. I couldn't see, I couldn't move. The cold swelled, reached my eyes, ears, tongue, then receded, sucked out like breath. Something left me, plunging downward. Light flared as the lantern revived. I stood in the closet doorway back to Ellie. Noah lay wailing on the floor. Ellie scooped him up, sobbing my name. She tugged my sleeve. Her fingers touched skin so cold she yelped. I turned. Shapes swam behind my eyes, colors I'd never seen, like after images from looking at the sun too long. My voice came slow, foreign. "He's safe." Ellie's tears turned to relief. She hugged Noah tighter, rocking. Outside, the siren died, wind easing. In my mind, farther away than memory, something laughed, savoring a first deep breath. 2 weeks have passed. The insurance company declared our roof totaled. Contractors tramp through daylight hours. Ellie schedules pediatric swim classes. Noah laughs easily now, giggles that make strangers smile. I laugh too. I hold him every evening, whispering nonsense into soft hair. Sometimes words slip, old syllables that feel like home. Noah gurgles back, eyes bright. Ellie sleeps soundly. The chair wedged against the knob has vanished. I walk rooms at night without fear, tracing the perimeter of a house that no longer feels cramped. The world lies open, expectant, because I am ready, and Noah is growing. Soon he will take his first step. Soon we will take them together.